In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can use Canva to create your Pinterest images. So if you've never heard of Canva before, it's a free tool that you can use in order to create some amazing graphics for your blog or your business. And since we're focusing on Pinterest today, when you log into your Canva account, you're going to see a dashboard come up that looks like this, and you'll actually see the Pinterest graphic template that you can choose in order to start creating your images. So when we get into our dashboard, we're just going to select Pinterest graphic. And one thing I love about this is it will bring up a blank design, but it will bring it up in dimensions that are over 600 pixels wide, because you want all of your Pinterest graphics to be at least 600 pixels wide. This one is a little over 700 pixels wide, so it's the perfect size for Pinterest. And so you'll see this blank canvas pop up, but over here on the left-hand side, you'll also see all of these different templates that Canva already has created for you. So you can certainly select one of these templates to get started with, or you can decide to start from scratch. For the purpose of this tutorial, we're going to start from scratch, and I'm going to show you exactly what I do to create my Pinterest graphic. So when I'm starting with this blank canvas, the first thing that I do is I go back over to this left-hand side here and select Elements. And then I click on this first grid right here. And what this grid is going to allow us to do is it's going to allow us to pick any photo we'd like as our background image, and it will automatically snap that background image to this size, so you won't have to worry about resizing your image to fit the dimensions of this project. So for me, in my uploads, this is where you'll go to select any images that you want to upload to use. I already have tons of images living here. Most of my images are from Unsplash or I've Remix, but Canva also has a lot of free images that you can choose from. I just prefer to use Unsplash or I've Remix. Unsplash is completely free. You don't even need to register your email address. You can just go through, search for the photos you're looking for, and then download them right to your computer and upload them to Canva. I've Remix is a little bit different because you do need to enter your email address, and the creator, Kayla, actually uploads a series of photos every month to her free image library that you can then download to your computer. So definitely give that a look. Look through Unsplash, look through I've Remix, see what you like best, and just download them and then upload them to your Canva kind of collection here. So I'm just going to go with this image right here. I'm going to click on it and drag it over, and you'll see how it snaps to the grid. So it doesn't include that full photo because it sizes it to the canvas size here, but if you want to change what you see in this window, you can just double click that image, and then you'll see the rest of the image pop up. So you can drag it over to see this part or somewhere in between. I think for this pin, I'm going to mostly showcase this part of the image and just click done. And then what I do next is I go back over to Elements and I go through the shapes, and I typically select the square. And then this square element will pop up. If you look over here into the left-handed area of your Canva dashboard, you can change the color of your object. So if you click on that, you'll see I have all of my brand colors here. I have some brand colors of clients that I've done projects for, and then Canva also has some default colors that they give you. I'm going to choose white, but then I'll also show you how if you click on this button, the color picker will pop up and you can really choose any color you'd like to fit your brand. If your brand has specific colors, like I know my brand, one of my brands is usually more pink toned, so I can select one of those options and really just choose from a really incredible range of colors. But like I said, we're just going to start with white for the purpose of this tutorial. And then I'm going to adjust the square a little bit. The other thing that I really love about Canva is it kind of helps you figure out if your objects are fully centered within the image. So you'll see the pink box appear around the white rectangle that I have. in order to make sure that's centered, I'll look for that center line there, and then I'll look for a line going across the middle to know that it's completely centered. And then the next thing that I want to do is I want to add some text. So I'm going to go back over to the left navigation bar and select text. And then just like we saw that wide variety of different templates that you can use, Canva also has a really nice selection of font combinations. So if you're not sure what type of font you might like to use in your image, they have all of these pre-designed sort of font arrangements for you. But like I said, for the purpose of this tutorial, we're going to create everything from scratch. So I'm just going to click on Add a Heading. And I already have two specific fonts in mind. So I'm just going to pull from the drop-down menu. And since I know the font, I'm going to just start typing that in until it pops up and select it there. And then I'm going to think about what this pin is going to be about. So for every blog post that I create, I then create 3 to 5 Pinterest images for a single blog post. And that's because I want to test out a few different styles to see which one performs best for the audience that I am trying to reach. So for this particular pin, I'm going to use this font. And for this blog post, I'm going to be talking about some mistakes that people usually make with Pinterest. So for my text, I'm going to say something like, are you making these 5? And then I'll finish the rest of it in a second, but then I'm going to arrange this. And you can turn caps on or off. So I'm going to make all of these uppercase actually, and kind of widen this out a little bit. And maybe even change the spacing slightly. And then also make the text a bit bigger overall. Because I want this to really be clear. I want this to grab the attention of my audience. I really want this to stand out. I'm just going to move that to make sure it's centered, and then we can adjust if we need to as we add the rest of the text. So are you making these 5 Pinterest? And then the other font that I like to use with this a lot is Sacramento, but if you have access to some free fonts that are safe for personal and commercial use, you can download them to your computer and then upload them to Canva. I actually have a tutorial on how to do that on my YouTube channel if you're curious to find out more. So I'll show you with one of Canva's fonts, but then I'll also show you with one of the fonts that I added to Canva what this could look like. So are you making these 5 Pinterest? And then I'm actually just going to copy this so that it's the same size, the same spacing, and then just change the text. Okay, so this is all pretty much ready to go. I think I'm going to make this a little bit bigger and just make sure it all stays on one line. And then I'm going to move these a little bit further apart. And then what I'm going to do, if you're on a Mac, really if you're on any computer, you can select your text box and then hold down the Shift key and just select the rest of the text boxes and group them together so you can move them all at once. And then make sure those are centered within your block here that you have. Okay. So the other thing that I like to do is I'll go ahead and ungroup these again. The other thing I like to do is sort of highlight this word in particular, and I'll do that by changing the color. So I'll pick a color from my brand and change it to that specific color. Sometimes I might have it match a color that's in the photo. That is a little bit easier to see. Okay, And then even as I'm looking that, I could definitely make this a little bit bigger. And then just make sure all of that lines up appropriately. All right, so that could be fine, but I want to change this even more. So I'm actually going to go into one of the fonts that I have uploaded. So any fonts that you're going to upload to Canva will live here. One of my favorite ones to use for Pinterest images is this one, Quinton. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but I love using this font. I feel like it really stands out. It's not too unclear, but people are still definitely going to see it, and it just looks really nice, especially with this font here. So I'm actually going to change the color of that a little bit more. And let's see. All right, are you making these 5 Pinterest mistakes? So this is almost ready to go, but something that a lot of people forget to do is add their logo or their URL to their pin images so that people can know where this pin is coming from. And so in order to do that, I just select this square that I've already made and I copy it, and then I just size it to be a lot narrower, and then drag it to the bottom of my image. And then what I'll do is I'll usually copy this. Oh, not that. I'll usually copy that text and drag the text down and then type in my URL and make it a lot smaller so that it can fit within this narrow box that I just made. Might even make it a little bit smaller. And then I also want to space this out a bit more. And you can honestly play around with the color of the shapes. You can play around with the transparency of them as well, so the image behind it peeks through a bit more. So going to this little icon up here and then changing the transparency so then that image peeks through just a bit. So let's make that 93. And really, that's all there is to it. You want to think about what your blog post is about, what your product is, what your service is, what your announcement is, and then create an image based off of that. You also want to make sure that your text is clear, on brand, and easy to read. Another thing to consider is using some bolder colors. So instead of using this white color, maybe you want to think about using a bit of a darker color to stand out a bit more. And then adjusting that even further, maybe changing the color to more of a primary color and making it even darker. That's a little bit too dark, but making it even bolder to really stand out. And you want to try a different variety of colors and fonts. So you want to see what you think might work best for your audience and then create a few different variations, because then once you upload them to Pinterest, you can look back at your analytics and see which pins are performing better than others, learn from that, and create additional pins from there for your other content. The other thing to consider is a soft call to action. So a call to action is going to kind of entice your audience to click on your pin. If I'm seeing, are you making these 5 Pinterest mistakes? I'm going to click on that because I'm going to be wondering, oh my gosh, am I making those mistakes on Pinterest? What are those mistakes that this person is talking about? And can I make sure that I'm not making those same mistakes? So think about that. The other thing to think about is there are a lot of people who will post infographics or step-by-step tutorials right onto Pinterest, but doing that people already see everything they need in that image, and they're not going to be as likely to click on your image to find out more as they would if they had a soft call to action like this particular graphic. So when you're ready to upload this to Pinterest in Canva, you're going to click download, and you want to click the PNG format and just hit download, and it'll download right to your computer so that you can upload it to Pinterest. I will be showing you guys how to upload it to Pinterest within the e-course. So if you're curious, I will make sure I leave a link for the e-course. I also do believe I have a blog post on how to upload your graphics to Pinterest after you've made them in Canva. So check out some of those resources. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. And of course, if you have any questions, please always feel free to reach out and let me know. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you go ahead and create some amazing images.